Just that chip on your shoulder, everyone talking about a neutral AFC Championship game, not even thinking about you guys. How much did that motivate you coming into this?
You better send those refunds.
I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. I'm from the city where they gotta play us. Fuck a coin flip, it's time to pay up. Don't cross the middle, 21 in the cut. We ain't hiding from nobody, run and tell them it's up. Back-to-back champs, kings of the north with it. Thinking they can hang with us, still ain't jumped out the porch with it. Long bomb to chase every Sunday, watch him go and get it. Double up on him, then we gon' double down on T. Higgins. Then throw Boyd in the mix, now you really iffy. Every Sunday showing boys how to really gritty. They try to shuffle up the game on us, but they ain't icky. Flip the coin, kick the toe, Roger to go and get it. Never know what's gonna happen when Joe drop back. He gets shiesty in the pocket, I get shiesty on the track. Nobody on the team all pro, that's all cap. Most all around team in the NFL, that's all fact. Ain't came across nobody yet that seem like they can hang with us. They said we couldn't be Buffalo, but see how we call they bluff. Underdogs every week, they keep on trying to label us. Put your money on us, even if Vegas don't favor us. No matter what, we really came up, now it's hard to fail. I dare you come across that middle, Von gon' ring your bell. I know we under they skin, them boys built frail. Eli Apple out there chirping like a next tail. You don't want Salmon Trey to come off them ends. Rita clogging up the middle like a big body Benz. Right behind them Logan and Pratt, the turnover twins. Jesse Bates in the backfield just to clean up the loose ends. We just drafted Cam and drafted Hill. Instant gratification every time that they on the field. We can't go back to what we was, cause that's the loser way. It's been hard.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Pork Chop. Welcome to Bengals and Brews without Dale. He just started back to school today. He's a school teacher, so he's doing his thing. And so we're going to do our thing and carry it on. I'm here with my co-host, the official co-host, Big Savage Greg, the Duck Killer, and then my good buddy from way back in the day.
Way back in the day,
man. It was a whole different life for us. Chad Brendal, who's also a celebrity. He's on the radio, man, covering for Mo Egger, and I heard you cover for Lance the other day too on 700. So that was big time, man.
Yeah, it was 4th of July, so nobody else wanted to work, so they gave me
right.
They reluctantly gave me the keys to the nice car one time, and they haven't asked me back. So.
Well, you did an awesome job, man. And then also you write for the Bearcats, and you got a Bearcat show too, right?
We got a whole network. We do a number of shows. We got an all Cincinnati sports show that we're getting ready to start up here soon with a very, very awesome co-host that's going to be joining the network that I'm excited about. I can't announce it yet. I can't drop it yet, but it'll be coming up on Tuesday nights on the Bearcat Journal YouTube. So we do all kinds of fun stuff, man. We have a good time with it.
Here's Jeff. He's probably going to ask here in the chat if you'll be on his show.
What's up, Jeff? I've been on his show.
Yeah.
You guys caught me at a very lucky time. I normally don't have a window, but you caught a nice window. You threaded the needle with the 3:30 start, so I was able to jump in for a few.
Well, we're on at 3:30 a lot of days now. We're doing the 3:30s on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So anytime you want to jump on at 3:30, let us know. You're always welcome.
Please do.
All right. Sounds
good.
You
You fit with the show, Bengals and Brews.
I like both of those things.
There you go.
What's up to everybody in the chat? Thank you for joining us. If you got any questions for Chad, make sure you send them in, and we'll pop them up there and see what he says. But let's start off by talking. We haven't had you on here since we drafted, right? Is that true?
Yeah, it's been right since the draft, I think.
So, I mean, just starting off like all the way back at the draft, which is your favorite pick? What was your favorite pick at the draft, and what's turning out to be your favorite pick now that training camp's going on?
I mean, in the NFL, you have to have pass rush. So, Murphy is a guy that if he hits, you get a lot of mileage out of, especially at the, I think it's something that the franchise has adapted to pretty well, but it takes a special organization to be able to draft at the back of the first round, at the very end, and still be able to find value. So, that part is important. And then wide receiver, you're going to have to find he's up there. Somebody is going to have to replace Tyler Boyd because you're not going to have the money to pay everybody. So if they hit on one of the wide receivers that can help them in the slot and be a little bit versatile and play a couple different roles, then that's long term what they're going to have to start. I like the philosophy that they're kind of showing right now,
right?
And that we're drafting not for this year, but we're drafting to get a guy in the system, get him coached up,
right,
and then be ready when we need him next year when XYZ player becomes expendable.
And they did that last year with Dax Hill too, didn't they?
Right. Yeah. So you're starting to see that philosophy. It's, again, drafting at the back of every round is an adjustment. Like, you're not – the hit rate is going to be – the target is going to be a lot smaller trying to find those impact guys at the back of every round. And it's something that the great teams have figured out. Kansas City is hitting on a ton of those guys at the back end of every round. New England did it for, 30 years, it felt like, when they had Tom Brady. Like, they hit at the back of every round. So it's just an adjustment that, I think they're adapting to pretty well. But we'll continue to see as time goes on, do these guys hit where, XYZ leaves, this guy steps in, fills the role, and it continues as seamlessly as possible.
I mean, it seems like every one of those draft picks are hitting so far. I mean, we haven't seen Charlie Jones out there too. I think that his shoulder's bothering him.
He's got he's playing with the torn labrum this year, they say.
Yeah. So he didn't do much in the preseason game, but maybe that had something to do with it. And then I saw today that they had Greg's buddy, Josivac, catching punt returns. Was it punt returns or kickoffs? I wake up at 3 o'clock, Chad. This is what I look like when I roll out of bed.
No, I was at higher ground all day. So you're pretty isolated when they get you out in the woods. There's very little cell service. You don't get to keep up with the Twitters as much as.
Is that where their camp's at?
Yeah, they're in West Harrison, Indiana, at like out in the middle of nowhere.
Shit, that's where I grew up.
I know.
Harrison.
It's really, really cool if you've never been out there. Like, everybody that goes out there for the first time is like, what in the world? What kind of like alternate reality did I just walk into? But it's all football for a couple weeks, and you get a good sense of nature.
It's a hell of a drive, though, isn't it?
For me, it's about 40 minutes both ways.
I'll tell you what, though, man. I used to love Bengals camp when it was down in Kentucky.
Yes, I did too.
I used to love going down there. Yeah, Georgetown at that little college, little stadium.
Oh, it was awesome. I love driving down there. I know it was like a 2-hour drive, but it was so much fun to drive down that cool little town. All there was, I think, was like Charlie's, a Cracker Barrel, McDonald's, and that's about it.
Probably a Dairy Queen too.
Dairy Queen, yes.
All those little towns
got a Dairy Queen. And not like the ones you see up here, like the old school, like walk-up window.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the authentic Dairy Queens.
Yeah.
Get you a fucking Billy bar.
With that good soft serve.
Yeah.
Damn right. So moving forward to the preseason game that we just happened on Friday, some of the guys here, we got so many different hosts now. They did a show on Saturday recapping, call it the Brew Cap from the game. What stood out to you in the preseason game?
I didn't get to see a ton. I kind of had it in the background, and I was going back and forth between the Reds. We were getting ready for Saturday was UC's first scrimmage. So kind of getting stuff ready for that. But are we officially worried about quarterback behind Joe?
No.
Not Joe, but quarterback behind Joe, because neither of those guys look good.
Well, Chad, I'll tell you this. You look at the Niners, they have like 4 or 5 quarterbacks, and they signed Brendal Allen. If Brendal Allen gets released by the Niners, I'm immediately getting a phone call. Both these guys did not prove to me this guy's our second quarterback. None of them did a damn thing to prove they're the second quarterback.
I don't know that Brandon Allen's any better. My philosophy is that if Joe goes down, we're fucked.
No, either way, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
But you need somebody. Well, and I was listening to Cincy 360 on the way home, and Tony kind of made a good point in that they look better in practice because they're throwing to T and Jamar and Tyler Boyd, and now those guys aren't out there, so you look a lot worse when you don't have the best wide receiving trio in the NFL so that they would look better if they had those guys at their disposal. However, you still, I don't think you're confident right now with your backup quarterback situation.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, like you said, and during the game, I mean, Yossi Vosh, Chad, if you know me well, I'm a huge Yossi Vosh fan. I mean, here's the thing. He had like 4 receptions for 50 yards. He had like 10, 11 targets. There were so many other passes. He could have had over 100 yards receiving in that game. There were so many times I saw Simeon either overthrew him or underthrow him, he'd be wide open. I mean, the quarterbacks were oh my Lord. I mean, I thought one of these guys would play halfway decent, but it's just not even close. I mean, it's like it was just like that. That was the biggest bust was the quarterbacks.
That's the thing I think that worried, at least like it caught my eye, Pork Chop, was that there were throws to be had.
Yes.
That they didn't make.
Right.
And especially Simeon has started like 40 games in the NFL. Right. You got to make easy throws, and they were missing easy throws, which makes you because then it doesn't matter if T or Jamar or Boyd is out there. If they're open and you can't get them the ball, like that's a problem. Defensively, they like when that early unit was out there before, obviously they didn't have many starters anyway.
Yeah,
but their twos look pretty good against the Green Bay ones.
Yeah.
The play from Dax Hill, going 45 yards, sprinting 45 yards over the top. That's why you draft a guy that's really fast, because most safeties can't make that play because safeties generally don't have low 4.3 speed. And his ability to close on that as the ball was in the air was really good to see. But then, I mean, preseason's so hard because you just spend 3.5 quarters watching guys that aren't going to be on the team.
Yeah.
So what kind of real feel do you get for it is what you have to kind of wonder. But ultimately, like in the early portions, I thought, okay, like, they look at least in sync, which I think is what you want.
Yeah, as long as we're talking about the secondary, man, my guy, Greg's guy in the draft was Yossi Vosh. My guy was DJ Turner, Juan Drago. Boy,
he looks great.
Man, he's looking fucking good in camp. One of the things, I just woke up at 3:00, but one of the things I saw was his pass breakup against Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Man,
his timing looks really good. I mean, he does a really good job getting his head around, being alert, being in good position. I mean, he made the one play down the sideline, right, where he got his head around early.
Yeah.
And almost, I mean, if he played it a little bit earlier, probably could have had a pick, but knocked the pass away. I mean, his coverage skills look NFL ready.
Where do you think he's going to fit in the roster going ahead? Because, I mean, we got Cam Taylor-Britt, we got Awuzie, and we got Mike Hilton in the slot.
Probably a backup to one of those, and I haven't watched close enough to know if he's playing field or he's playing boundary or if there's a preference. But it's the NFL, man. You got to have, if you can have 10, if you had a roster big enough to have 10 corners, I'd have 10.
Oh yeah, no shit.
Just because that there's you need so many of them in this league the way it operates now.
I mean, but this year we're going to have Cam Taylor-Britt out there who's doing great, man. He looks like he's keeps on moving forward from where he left off last year when he picked off Josh Allen at the end of the year. Then you got Chidobe Awuzie, who would have been a Pro Bowler had he not got hurt last year, most likely.
Right.
And then Mike Hilton, who's a beast in the slot, good blitzer. And then you get on the sideline waiting to come in to give somebody a breather or something like that is DJ Turner, who's looking good, man. Our secondary, I think, this year. Plus, he's got that continuity with Daxton Hill.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're still wait and see mode on safety. Just how those two connect and how they're able to communicate and play together. That's in Lou Anarumo's defense. That's kind of the backbone of the defense. It used to be linebacker for him. It looks like he wants his safeties to really be the ones that take that role that I guess a middle linebacker used to have, quote unquote, as like the quarterback of the defense. So as they, continue to adjust, nobody's ever said that before, Braden.
Yeah, never.
Perfectly.
That's
Never.
the first
Nobody's
time.
ever said that before.
My wife, but that was at the very beginning of our relationship. And later on, she told me she was fucking lying.
Yeah, that's before you ended up with 5 daughters and we never saw you again.
That's right. And this my bastard son, Chad. You didn't meet him back in the day because I was hiding from his the baby mama, Anthony. I always like to tell everybody he's the one in the picture that's not Zach Taylor. That's one of my bastards from back in the day. You know how I was, man, going around like Papa Roach spreading my seed.
But yeah, you were fertile.
Yeah, some of them popping. Some of them are popping up out of the woodwork, but it's okay because I don't know any money
They
now.
don't say dad because they're like 17 now. But
Anthony's 38, so I'm way past child support on his big ass.
oh boy,
Greg, what kind of questions you got for Chad?
Well, yeah, Chad, you brought up the safeties. The safeties were like the biggest question mark for us. We lost Bell, we lost Bates. I mean, I thought we were going to get Bell back. I thought we were going to lose Pratt and we were going to get Bell back. I mean, I think everybody thought that. I mean, we lose both Bell and Bates, and Nick Scott. We got, I've heard good reports about him. Dax Hill. He's finally now getting to start this year, and Jordan Battle, who was a great pickup and also a big time, and he's going to be a big contributor on special teams. Yeah. We just didn't know anything about the safeties, but overall, I mean, another guy nobody talks about was Tyson Anderson.
I mean, he was the player of the game, right?
Yeah, he was.
Easily 6th-round pick out of Toledo. He's like 6'2", 6'3", ran like a 4.2, and I'm like, man, this guy deserves a shot. And I think we can agree that he proved his point pretty much. I mean, the safeties I thought did very well during the game overall.
I mean, the problem is, as of 29 seconds ago, they might run Nick Scott out of town because he just collided with T. Higgins.
Oh, snap.
Higgins fell to the ground, according to Kelsey Conway, but was able to run off. 2 trainers now looking at him.
Okay.
Damn. Nick Scott didn't even play on Friday, did he?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe he won't play at all.
Yeah, he might get run out of town.
You say the trainers are out there looking at Higgins on the field?
2 of them, yeah.
Oh.
He jogged off, I guess.
All right.
He jogged off. I mean, yeah.
Richard Skinner says, collision at Bengals practice. Nick Scott tried to jump over T. Higgins, but landed on him instead. Yeet. Higgins got up and jogged off slowly. Now there's a couple trainers looking at him.
Well,
shit happens in camp. He'll be okay, though.
No, he'll be okay. But like another question I want to ask you, Chad, is let me think here. Yeah, Jackson Carman. I mean, all this great offseason hype. He's been working out, doing this, doing that, trying to get his mindset better. What the hell happened Friday?
He's never going to work.
No.
It's never going to work. This is one I knew some people through like recruiting circles that knew him when he was in high school.
Right.
And the word on him was always probably be able to get through college just because he was physically,
huge,
so gifted, but isn't a guy that loves football, isn't a guy that there's a lot of guys, and I know this is hard for us to understand, but I've been doing this long enough to know there's a lot of guys that are playing sports because they see it as it's their meal ticket, but not necessarily what they genuinely love and enjoy doing. They don't like the grind. They don't like practice. They don't respond well, through the off season. He wasn't around a whole lot from reports that I've heard. Wasn't down there at the facility all the time, which for a local guy is insanity to me, and what feels like a make or break year for him. I know this might not, I don't know if it's going to be popular or not, but I might cut him. I don't know.
How much money would we save, though? He's still on a rookie contract, right? I mean, and plus, is he the worst?
If you don't think he can help you, what is he going to do holding the roster spot?
Exactly.
Right, but is he the worst backup that we have? Is he worse than Adeniji?
I would trust him less than Adeniji.
Would you?
Yeah,
he can back up every spot too, except for center.
And you know who played well? I was a big fan of him coming out of the draft. Deontay Smith, very raw athlete. He had long arms. They just said he needed to put on weight. Chad, you may have remembered him when he was at Tulane when the Bearcats played against him. Just a very raw athlete. He just needed to be coached up. And Frank Pollock is a guy who I fully trust. And we got him in the 4th round that year. And we just never heard anything from him 2 years. But all of a sudden, he had like an 81 overall pass grade playing tackle. I mean, give that guy. I mean, like I said, he's put on some weight. I want to see more of him out there.
He seems like he's a guy that is into the work.
Yes.
That's into the process, that
Yes.
loves playing football. Again, that's what happens when you love playing football. You get better.
Yes.
You progressively get better. You spend the offseason doing the things that you're supposed to do, getting your body right, not showing up to camp, 20 pounds overweight or doughy, or, you show up ready to go. This isn't, in 1984, training camp was when guys got in shape, right? They worked in an off-season job at the meat packing plant, and then they came into camp, and that's, they put down the cigarettes, they stopped drinking beer for a couple days. That's when they got in shape for the season.
Right.
That's not how it works anymore, man. People show up to camp ready to go.
Right.
And I just don't get the sense that this guy, I don't get the sense that he's about the right things.
Well, when he showed up to camp, they were talking about he did look like he was ready to go. Like he didn't lose weight, but he toned up. He was taking yoga. He was taking like MMA, everything to get prepared. They got us super hyped on this fucker, and then he just stood there like a turnstile when people were running at the quarterback.
He didn't even fire off the ball. He was just like
what do you do? By the way,
hey, look, in his defense, he did turn around to watch the play for a minute. He was like,
by the way, Strawberry Ice is calling me out right now. It was East Carolina. I got Camp Sample went to Tulane, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, but thank you. Thank you, Strawberry, for correcting me on that. East Carolina. Although UC did play East Carolina, so I was close.
I knew the name. I just look.
Also, look, he corrected it, but I was
so much time in purgatory in the American Athletic Conference. All those teams are the same.
Right.
It's all the same.
Yeah. What about our tight end situation, man? Tanner Hudson. He went down he got a concussion, right? But man, he was looking fucking good, wasn't he?
He looked like somebody that's got the ability to go catch passes, which some of the other guys on this roster at tight end, Camp Sample, has not really been good at. Oh man, So you guys know Danny Hurley is like the biggest Bengals fan on the planet, right?
All right.
Like literally insane Bengals fan.
All right.
And every year I go out and cover AAU tournaments and watch, all the top high school players in the country. And every year there's a tournament that coaches are out on the road that is at the same time as the NFL draft. And when they drafted Sample, Danny Hurley for an entire day, what are we doing? We're taking a tight end that can't even pass. We're taking a blocking tight end in the first 2 days of the draft. What the hell is going on there? What is wrong with these? He knows I do radio and I'm a Bengals guy.
Right.
So he just chewed my ear off. I'm like, Danny, I didn't send the card, bro. I don't know.
Right.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
He might be right.
Danny Hurley.
I think you're right, Pierce.
I'm not sure I know who Danny Hurley is.
He's the national championship basketball coach of the UConn Huskies.
Oh,
okay.
Remember Bobby Hurley that played for Duke?
Yeah, that's right. That's his brother. That's right. Right. Okay, I did remember something like that. That is right. Okay.
I'm still over here like I don't watch college basketball.
No, but I did hear something about that. Yeah.
Die hard Bengals fan.
But no, speaking of Strawberry, we got a question from Strawberry. This was earlier. Chad, are you concerned about running backs since Trevor Williams did not play and he's not practicing? Are you concerned about the running back too right now?
Yeah. I know they have a great belief in Joe Mixon. There's a lot of miles on that tank right now. And I would not be against checking. There's some talented running backs that are still floating around out in free agency right now that you could kick the tires on. That
you're gonna give fucking Greg a boner.
Zeke, what about Zeke, man? Let's go get Zeke. I've been saying this for months, man. Let's get Zeke.
I'm not opposed. I mean, it would depend on the money,
right?
Clearly, but guess what? We're 3 weeks from the start of the season, and he doesn't have a home. So I don't think Joe's bad.
No.
But I also know, like, he's not at the beginning of his career anymore.
No.
And he has shown for there to be significant, like, peaks and valleys for him throughout a season. Now you don't have a great, like, we don't know about Chase Brown yet.
No.
And really, like, you guys feel great if Travion Williams, like, if
he's an unknown.
I like Travion. I'll say this, Chad. Every time he came in, the Bengals think very highly of him. He's been on the team for like 3 years, but they've always retained him because they've seen a lot in him. Every time he came in, he did a great job. Like, when Mixon was hurt, and when P. Ryan took over most of the snaps, Travion did come in and did do a good job. I'm not going to lie to you, Chad. I'm a big fan of Travion Williams, but I get what you're saying.
If something happens to Mixon and he's out for 2 or 3 games,
yes, then I'm up.
Are you good for Travion Williams at 50 snaps a game?
No,
45 snaps a game.
No, I'm just no.
Right. I think you have to. I think you have to look. I think you have to make that determination of, do we really feel like, and I know they do feel like Joe Mixon is the answer at running back for them right now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't necessarily agree.
He's old. How old is he now, Joe Mixon?
28, 29.
Yeah.
It's fucked up, man. Here I said at 51 talking about a guy being old and he's 28.
Well, Chad, like I said, Mixon, like, when I'm happy he took the restructured deal, but be honest with me, Chad, did he really have any leverage? We're glad he came to an agreement, but did he honestly have any leverage? Would he have gotten that?
He was going to get cut. And then he's going to have to go somewhere else for pennies on the dollar, probably less than what he got to restructure his deal here. So he didn't have much of a choice.
Hey, let's also not forget that he does still have pending legal shit going on. That's still to be seen what happens with that. I mean, they
like multiple legal pending shits going on, right?
Yeah, they painted a bad picture of him with what's going on.
He's got a legal situation in the upstairs bathroom and the downstairs bathroom.
Fucking A. He's in the guest bedroom. Everywhere.
So
hey, I'm not bougie enough to have a bathroom in the guest bedroom.
I got one. You've been to the house, Chad. I got one bathroom, and then I had 5 daughters and a wife, so my time in the bathroom is limited as shit.
You got 3 minutes.
That's right. I got to go in there and bear down.
Most people get a hemorrhoid from sitting on there too long. You get it from pushing too hard.
And it's
like you're in the delivery room twice a day.
And then I got to wipe in the hallway. My bathroom time's over.
So, Chad, you brought up Miles Murphy as your favorite. I think your favorite pick, getting the pass rush. Clearly, he did not show anything yet, but I still think he's a work in progress. I've been seeing they've been lining him up in the middle because we're loaded up at pass rush. Is something you want to have because Hendrickson and Hubbard for the last 2 years, man, just look exhausted out there because we had really no good premium backups or anything. We didn't have that Wallace Gilbert that backed up Dunlap and Michael Johnson earlier. And, Miles Murphy,
it's supposed to be a sigh, but
right. But like I say, the thing with Miles Murphy is he has all the talent, but I still think he's a work in progress. And Marion Hobby, I think you could argue he's the best position coach on the team. Look what he's done with the defensive line. Clemson guy also, same with Miles Murphy. I mean, this is a great match right here. I still think Miles Murphy didn't exactly show anything yet, but I still think he's a work in progress right now. That I think once he finds his way, he's gonna be a heck of a pass rusher.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like offensive line, right? Like most D linemen aren't fully ready year one. Like no matter what, they're going to take a little bit of time to really ramp up physically and, mentally speed of the game. They're going to take a little bit to ramp up that top level. Right. But that's the problem is what you just mentioned. Like Hendrickson is a guy that wears down.
Right.
Because his motor runs so high, he is a guy that over the course of a season – I think needs to be probably more in that 60-65% of the snaps range as opposed to 80.
Yeah.
Because it just feels like the farther along you get in the season, the more prone he is to nagging injuries and, just looking a little bit like their pass rush was non-existent in the playoffs. And I think that was part of it was the wrist injury and his battery was just on empty. And some of the, I think this is, if you had to ask me, and I'm not doing your job for you, I promise. If you had to ask me like who had the most on the line this season on this roster, it might be Joseph Asai.
Hey, Chad, who's got the most on the line this year on the roster?
It might be Joseph Asai.
Holy shit.
How about that?
That's a guy that's got to prove it. Like there's been little flashes, but there's been nagging injuries, and then the thing we won't talk about last year. This is a guy that's got a lot of chips on the table that he's got to come out and show as a situational pass rusher. He can get home. He can get to the quarterback, consistently create havoc, and give those guys a little bit of a breather. But Murphy inside, back to your original question, I like the idea because you have to get a pass rush from the inside. Like that is critical in the NFL right now because they've learned quarterbacks are the best quarterbacks just know how to step up and avoid the edge rush.
Right. Yeah.
They're so good. Their footwork is so good. Their eyes, their feel is so good. They just know how to step in and around edge rushing. If you got something coming right at your face, there's nowhere for you to go. Like you're trapped. It was Tom Brady's kryptonite. Anytime a team really gave the Patriots trouble, it was almost always because they had that pass rush coming right at him and were able to give him fits at his feet because that's the key to everything. Like footwork at quarterbacking at a high level is more about footwork than it is about anything else. And if their footwork is jacked because you're coming right at them, they're going to have major problems. So I like the idea of maybe as he's early in his career, using that size and the Carter kid from last year.
He put on 30 pounds, didn't he?
Yeah, that's another one I think that they hope the plan is to get him, involved coming after the quarterback inside.
I mean, Chad, can you imagine if we had Geno in his prime right now next to DJ Reader? I mean, Geno Atkins. I remember Steve Young talking in an interview, talking about him one time, and he's like, "I'd rather get pass rushed from the side than in the inside. It is so much harder for a quarterback to deal with an inside pass rusher than an outside pass rusher."
That's why Geno was so successful. He had such great leverage. His hands and feet were awesome.
Yes,
and he could just without guys even. He's like he was Jedi mind tricking them out of his way.
He was definitely a badass. Geno Atkins or DJ Reader in the prime?
Probably Geno because of the pass rush.
Man,
because it just changes everything when you can get to the quarterback from there.
DJ Reader's a difference maker on this team, man.
I love it.
Atkins was on next level.
Well, you know what, Chad, and this thing we've been debating on Bruce. DJ Reader's a free agent next year. He's going to be in his 30s. We have shied away from signing guys over their 30s. But
it's against company policy now. Nobody over 30.
Company policy switched around here in the last
It switched around. But, Chad, we don't have anybody coming in for him. And we saw when Jamar went down, we still hung in there. When T did down, we did fine. But when DJ Reader went down, we saw the difference. When he came back, shut down both Henry and Chubb, the top two rushers in the league. You tell me if that was a coincidence, because I sure
it's not a coincidence at all.
I mean, and DJ, you were talking about getting Burrow T done. I mean, one of the biggest mysteries next year is what are we going to do with DJ Reader? Are we going to be able to afford to keep him next year?
What's going to be interesting is I don't think he is as respected around the league as he should be.
Mm-hmm.
So you wonder what the market would look like for him and what it would take. Like, would you be able to – I would imagine just knowing the way that they have operated, they're not going to want to do a 3 or 4 year deal for DJ Reader. But could you do enough to get him on like a year, 2 year?
Right, 2 years.
Maybe a 2 year guaranteed, heavy guarantee deal. Or I mean, you could say it's 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But all the money is in the first 2, and then if he starts to slip. But here's where I think they need to maybe expand their mental view on age.
Right.
That's not a young man's position.
No.
That is you need grown ass man strength to be a run stopper up the middle. So, hopefully they look at that as, we don't like paying the outside guys.
Right.
Once they get past 29, 30, the skill, the big skill. But the inside guys, he ain't moving it. You're not asking him to run a whole lot. You're asking him to stand there and be a monster.
He does a good job at it.
Right. So maybe, hopefully, they look at that. They view it a little bit differently, just because it's asking somebody to do something that doesn't require a lot of youth.
Right.
Maybe he's like everybody else on the team that they signed that we didn't. Not that we didn't expect it, but we didn't expect the deal they got because they want to stay with this coaching staff. But I feel like it's a 2-year deal because he's getting old.
Yes,
3-year deal, he's like 32, 33 years old at the end of that contract.
Well, but like I said, if you give him a 3 just to kind of make him feel good that it's a 3, but you structure it to where there's very little cap hit in that 3rd year if he does start to decline. Or maybe a 2-year with a 3rd-year option, like a team option, or I think you probably have to get creative with it. But I do think he's a guy that the franchise needs because of his. You're doing all of this on the outside, corners and safeties.
Right.
They don't overly value linebackers. They've gotten better at it, but it's not a position that they're. What I mean in terms of that, like, is if they had a gap at linebacker, I don't think they're going into the free agency world and spending $12 million a year on a Pro Bowl linebacker. That doesn't seem like what they've done at that position. They want to draft and develop and get a guy to that second contract. I just think it would be smart. Like, he is your guy that can stop the run. He is your guy that can control the Browns, the teams that really want to.
Yes.
It's funny because I think we're going to see some shift back to power running, strictly because what's happening in the NFL, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Linebackers are getting smaller. Linebackers are playing coverage. Defensive ends, like defensive ends now, unless you're running like a Pittsburgh 3-4, where the ends are, 290, 300 pounds. Ends are 250, 258, 260, 262. Right. I think teams are looking at that and going, you know what? I think we can run. I think we're going to be able to run right at teams because everybody's getting smaller to slow down the pass. So it's a reaction to, the spread offenses came in. Then the defenses said, all right, we have to adjust. We'll get smaller and we'll do a better job covering 4 and 5 guys out in routes all the time. And the only way you can do that is to have less 275-pound, 260-pound guys trying to guard people in space. Okay, well, now it's the pendulum is swung this way. Okay, let's go back to power running and let's see if we can line up and shove it down somebody's throat because their defense isn't equipped to handle it.
Well, I'll bet the kids in high school love hearing that are running backs because right now that position's devalued in the NFL. They're not getting paid. So if that comes back, it'll be just a time for these kids in high school and college to play that position.
And if DJ Reader leaves, you know what you do? You just go draft the Godfather.
Yeah.
You go get yourself some Dante.
Well, but we're going to be picking 32. Is he going to go in the draft this year?
I don't know. He's an interesting one, man. That's a kid that loves college, loves being in his hometown. He's got some NIL deals that, he's got a burger, he's got a pizza.
Where's he got a burger at?
Bucketheads.
Does
he?
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, he's got his own brisket burger at Bucketheads, and then at Mio's in Clifton, he's got his own pizza. It's got pepperoni, bacon, sausage, and jalapenos.
Nice. I had
yours
last night. I got to try that sometime.
It's pretty good.
Where's he rated nationally?
So last year he was the number 1 defender in the country.
God damn.
Wow. I think the Athletic just released their All-American team, and he's the 2nd team All-American at nose tackle. A top 3 nose tackle in the country.
Let me ask
crazy to think that that's Cincinnati, our small town.
Yeah. I mean, well, the crazy thing was last year, he was the number 1 ranked defender in the country. You know who the number 2 ranked defender in the country was?
Who?
Ivan Pace.
Wow.
Well, I got a buddy that's a Minnesota fan. He said fucking Pace is tearing it up.
Yeah, he's probably going to start as an undrafted free agent. He's probably going to start at linebacker.
I was a proponent. Greg could probably tell you, like, I liked Ivan Pace. I was on the Ivan Pace train, especially because I thought he could do really good at special teams. A little undersized in the NFL, but it's like Geno Atkins. When he came out, they said he was too small. Just a fucking beast with a super high motor. That's what they're getting with Ivan Pace. He's going to tear it up out there in Minnesota.
He had a clip in their first preseason game where he came off the left side in a blitz, and it was a run blitz, and they were running right off that side, and he hit the right guard so hard he knocked him into the running back and tackled the running back. And this 6'4", 320-pound man that Ivan Pace at 5'11", 235 hit with so much force that he went backwards into the running back and tackled the running back. And that's not I've seen him do that multiple times in game action where he hits the offensive lineman so hard that they tackle the running back.
Man. Chad, since we're talking Bearcats, the NFL, if you're a Bearcats fan, I guess you like Travis Kelce, but if you're a Bengals fan, it might be a bit of a different.
I got it.
The thing of it is, here's what I didn't like. It like Chase just made a simple comment, said Pat who he was supporting his quarterback, and Kelce just went on his show, said he shouldn't be talking that way about he was joking.
So was Travis. It's performance. It's a podcast, man.
Yeah.
Watch him. Like when they did the thing at the White House and the president walked away from the mic for a second and Travis just kind of wandered over like, I've been waiting for this for a long. That's who he is. Like he's
What about talking shit about our chili though, Chad? That's fucking unforgivable.
He's from Cleveland.
Well, he is from Cleveland.
Like you gotta. And look, I'm biased here. You know what my kid's name is, right?
Yes. Yeah, Kelsey.
I named her after Jason.
Thank God it's Jason.
Yeah, I named her after Jason, but she thinks Jason's ugly, so she claims Travis.
Oh, does she? So she switched it around?
I've accidentally raised a Chiefs fan.
Yeah. But Chad, the other guy, Sauce Gardner, man. Can we just say that's the best corner? He's going to be making over $100 million in a year or two. Is that the best corner in the league as a second year player? Is that the best corner?
He will go down as one of the best corners in the history of the sport. Right?
Thank you.
At the very top of the list. And here's the thing: I don't know how much they showed on Hard Knocks the week one of him, but the more America gets to know him, the more because he seems like he's super flashy and that's all surface stuff that he does for show.
Right.
But that is one of the most humble, quiet, nicest kids you will ever meet. Listen to him talk about why he graduated from UC. Because he left after 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he came back and got his degree, finished his schoolwork as he was becoming an all-pro, Pro Bowler, through all that last year, all the hype around him, he was finishing his degree and he just walked for graduation a week and a half ago. And when he talks about it, he said, look, the kids in Detroit look up to me. And I promised my mom I would get my degree, and it meant something to me to be a role model for those kids so that they think having a degree is something that has meaning and purpose in their life. That is not something that, a selfish asshole. That's not how a selfish asshole carries themselves.
No.
And, it was on Hard Knocks.
I just didn't know how much they got into talking to him specifically.
I don't think they talked to him super in depth, but they did show him at the graduation.
Yeah.
He's just a really good dude. I probably should be more pushy on this than I am. But if I hit him up in the offseason and had said, hey, Sauce, will you come on the podcast? He would do it.
Awesome.
That's just he's just he's been back at Cincinnati in the spring every year for spring football.
Awesome.
He's been back in June at times when they have official visit weekends where they'll bring in 15, 20 kids to come in for their official visits. And Sauce would just be hanging in the football offices. Could you imagine like being a 17-year-old and you've got one of the biggest stars in the NFL just like lounging on the couch in the football recruiting office? Like
that's how you get them signed.
That's how you get them signed. That's
Yeah.
exactly how you get them signed. Yeah. He's an awesome dude. He really is. So are Jason and Travis. But I get why Bengals fans are a little sour on Travis. He's a showman. He's going to talk the talk. He's going to see a situation like with the mayor.
Yeah.
And to him, that's content. Like, he's a content creator.
Right.
Tell you what, though, man, I'm pretty sure he had one fumble last year, didn't he?
He
Was
did.
it just one? Where the fuck that happened at? Yeah, fuck you, Travis Kelce, you son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I was in my daughter's face letting her know about it.
But she got a Kelce jersey.
Oh yeah, Kelce jersey.
What we do for our kids, you know.
I know.
Jesus Christ, my kids, they don't like football, and the one started liking football because she got a boyfriend that likes football. Wasn't me, wasn't Dad. You know, she got a boyfriend, watches football. Now all of a sudden she's going to the games with me every once in a while, but she's the one. She's older, and
so
I have a grandson by her.
You know what actually did it was the Chiefs-Bills playoff game. So 2 years ago, the
shootout.
Crazy, yeah. So like the ups and downs, the roller coaster of that, and then the Bills score with 13 seconds left. And like she had gone from high to low to high to low, and she like slumped down in my office on the floor, and she's like, "They're gonna lose, aren't they, Dad?" And I was like, "Yeah, they're probably gonna lose."
Right.
And Travis, boom, right down the field.
Wasn't it 13 seconds?
Yes, 13 seconds.
13 seconds.
13 seconds got him into field goal range, and she's jumping around and screaming. And from that point on, she was a Travis Kelce like stan. But
right, and then the next year
I keep telling her Jason, so that she's talked to Jason on the phone, like in the car. Yeah. I'm like, "You're Jason." She's like, "No, Travis." I'm like,
you should have made her nickname Jason.
You should have seen when she was like 4, and I showed her a picture of "This is who you're named after." She almost cried.
Right.
No, I'm not, Dad. I'm not named after that scary man. I'm like, "Yeah, you are."
Yeah, I love Jason, man. He's awesome. I like that guy.
No, Jason is cool.
Hey, they can both come play for the Bengals.
Absolutely.
Much hate as I'm throwing out there on Travis Kelce.
As much hate as there is, whatever I get, they're both first ballot Hall of Famers.
Easy.
Oh, yeah.
100% easily. But
can you imagine how big you swing your dick if you're the dad that produced 2 first ballot Hall of Famers?
Right? And they're playing at the same time.
Exactly.
Yes.
No.
That's my seed, motherfuckers.
Right.
Now, Chad, they did the NFL top 100 players. They had Joe Burrow at number 6, Travis Kelce at number 5. Do you agree with that?
No.
Thank you.
I mean, Travis is legendary, all-time great, but he's still a tight end.
Yes.
Like,
exactly.
let's now, he's probably going to go down as the greatest or second greatest tight end of all time.
Uh-oh. You're going to get who is the
who's
greatest tight end of all time?
Who's number 1?
Gronk.
Thank you, Chad.
Oh, man. You just literally verbally blew Greg right on the show.
Thank you, Chad. No, thank you, Chad. Because people have getting
wipe your chin, Chad.
But when Gronk was healthy, he was hurt most of the time, and Gronk still put up more numbers. Gronk, I know people say he had Tom Brady, but Gronk, man, was a better blocker. I'm not knocking on Kelce. I'm still happy with Kelce.
It never made the highlights, but go watch Gronk block. He was a dominant blocker in the run game. And that's just Travis didn't really super interested in that. But Travis is ultimately going to put up better receiving numbers. 1, because of health, and 2, probably longevity. Travis will surpass all the records as a pass catching tight end. But Gronk's the best to ever do it.
It's staying on.
That's sure to come on. If it's the Yosivach that gets the shirt off.
Yeah. But no. Like I said, I'm not. Like I said, I'll still be happy with Kelce. But like I said, man, I'm going to choose Gronk. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Gronk was incredible.
Yes.
Just to bring Greg back down to reality, though, one more question along those lines is Die Hard a Christmas movie, Chad?
Die Hard is a movie that was set around Christmas, but it is not a movie about Christmas.
Yes! Chad, you were my new.
He's gone. That's what happens when you give Pork Chop control.
Look,
Chad, you're my new best friend, man. We need to go out sometime, man. You're my new best friend.
Look, I think to be a Christmas movie, it needs to be about Christmas.
Thank you.
Is Home Alone about Christmas, or is it about a kid getting stuck in his house while his fucking parents went away on vacation at Christmas time?
Home Alone is a Christmas movie mainly because he uses Christmas elements to torture the robbers. Like there's a Christmas theme throughout that movie that they work into the movie, even though it's not really, that's a story about a terrible fucking parent.
Yeah, pretty much. Twice they do it. They do it 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to leave for a minute, let you guys have a little.
Yeah, dude, Chad, man, this is awesome, man.
That woman doesn't deserve kids. They should take all of her kids away.
Well, yeah, because you think about it, man. You do it 2 years in a row. You leave your kid. I mean, what the hell? You know? I mean, that's
they clearly hate that kid.
Yeah, they clearly do, and all that. By the way, Chad, you're going to think I'm weird for this. My all-time favorite Christmas movie is actually not Home Alone. It's Home Alone 2. I know people, you're going to probably call me weird for that. That's my favorite Christmas movie of all time is Home Alone 2.
Greg, there's a lot of reasons to call you fucking weird, but that ain't one of them.
Yeah, that ain't one of them. Yeah, there's a lot of weird things about me, Chad. But Chad, man, you were on my good side 100%, buddy.
God dang. You guys just became best friends.
Did we just do the stepbrother scene?
Yeah, did we just become best friends? Yep. But Strawberry's getting annoyed by this. But Strawberry, I'm going to be nice to you. So Strawberry asked a question earlier. What do you think the Bearcats are going to do this year in the Big 12 in football, Chad?
It's so volatile. The hardest part is the hardest part about figuring out like what this looks like is they are going to have probably 6 or 7 coin flip games.
Right.
Where the spread is between 2.5 points one way and 2.5 points the other way. The question is going to be, I think they're going to be fine on defense.
Mm-hmm.
The question is going to be, can this offense produce late in games? Or here's one of the other ways I've put it. Can this offense keep up? Like there are going to be points in almost every game because the Big 12 is an offense first league. I mean, it's a league where teams average 35, 37, 38 points a game. And where you run into issues if you are they've got 10 of 11 new starters on offense.
Mm-hmm.
There's talent there. But is there the continuity for when you're in a 17-14 game, right?
Right.
And they score going into halftime. Now it's 24-14. They get the ball back. They go down and they kick a field goal. Now it's 31-14 or 27-14. Can you come right back down the field and make it 27-21? And put yourself in a position where it doesn't get away from you. Because if you're down 27-14 – and you go 3 and out, now you're in deep shit because you're climbing out of a hole that is just. Yeah, I do think the police were.
I heard
police sirens around my house. That actually happened.
They're looking for you, Greg.
They're looking for me.
So they're going to be in a ton of close games. Can they keep up in the middle of the game to keep it close into the fourth quarter, and then what is your kicker? They've got a new kicker from Arizona State. His name's Carter Brown. He's used to kicking field goals in the desert, where all you got to do is get them up in that dry air, and they carry for an extra 10 yards. How is he going to be when it's 43 degrees in Lubbock, Texas, with wind blowing 35 miles an hour?
Right.
So little things like that on the offense, I think, are going to determine where this team is at. Realistically, I could see anywhere from 4-8 to 8-4, and I wouldn't bat an eyelash, which is just a wild variant going into a season. Usually you can narrow it down to like, okay, 6 or 7 wins sounds about right. If you told me 4 and these were the losses, I would look at it and go, I can see that. And if you told me 8, I would go, okay, they probably, they lost a few coin flips if they're at 4. They won a few coin flips they maybe shouldn't have if they're at 8. I guess that means I'm probably somewhere in the middle, 6 or 7 wins, 5, 6, 7 wins. If the offense can get some traction, I'll go with 7. If the offense struggles, it's going to be tough to win games in the Big 12, man. Iowa State had a dominant defense last year, and I think they went like 1-8 in the league. They averaged holding teams under 20 points a game in that league, and they just lost a bunch of one-score games because their offense couldn't get going. Thanks, guys.
What the fuck was I going to say before I put up Jeff's comment? So how much better do you feel if Fickell would have stayed?
It would have been interesting because let's be honest, the offense last year struggled.
Yes.
Like that team never really got on track because the offense never took off. And it wasn't going to be much different. I mean, if he stays, Ben Bryant's the quarterback here.
Yeah.
You probably still have a pretty new offensive line. What would they have been able to do in the transfer portal to fix the offensive line? They couldn't run the ball for shit last year. They were pretty much big player bust as an offense last year. So I like going into this league. You went out and you got a guy that's offense first as a head coach. That's Scott Satterfield's thing. He calls the plays on offense. He designs the offense. I like the outside zone scheme that he runs. So I don't know. They probably would have been better because there wouldn't have been as much attrition. There wouldn't have been as much turnover. They've got 33 guys that are in their first year in the program, and most of them are top of the roster guys. That is just insane when you're thinking about continuity and being able to stick together when the going gets tough. So, but I don't know that they would have projected a whole lot different. They would have been picked higher because Fickell would have got the benefit of the doubt.
Maybe the recruiting would have been better.
Well, they lost a big chunk of a really good recruiting class.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. They did most of the backfill with transfers. They've only got 10 freshmen in the program this year, which is a crazy low number. But they added 23, veteran guys to the roster. So the recruiting definitely took a hit, but that's what happens when a really, really successful coach moves on and then says, okay, these are the 6 guys that at the top of the class we really valued, and they're coming with me.
So anybody get ready for Bearcat football? What would you say to get them excited about this season?
The unknown is always fun. Unless it all goes horribly wrong. But I think, especially when you're following camp and there's new stuff to track every day and there's new names that are popping up every day. Okay, you can see this guy is starting to get his feet under him. Oh, hey, I forgot they even landed this guy. Look at him. He's with the 2s. That part of it is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a hell of a challenge when you're talking about, I'm there every day.
Right.
And I needed my roster for the first 4 days of camp, 5 days of camp to okay, who was that?
Mm-hmm.
Who was that? And to get all of that into, easy, quick recall memory, there's going to be a lot of learning the roster as the games go on. And I think that's kind of fun to do. It's a little different. You don't get that experience a lot. And they're in a league where it matters, man. They're in a league where you're no longer going to go to Tulane and play in a high school stadium in front of 12,000 people. An environment that is dwarfed by Elder Moeller or St. X Moeller. Like those games are more exciting than the product in the American Athletic Conference half the time. You know, there were just so many teams in that league that their fan bases were just apathetic. And now you're going to get 60, 70, 80,000 every game on the road. Everywhere you go is going to be a big game. That's going to be the interesting thing. You know, in the American, you could look at 3-4 games on your schedule and go, yeah, we have to play. We can't play terrible, but we have significantly more talent than Tulsa. So when we go play Tulsa, yeah, they're physical and they want to start a fight every game and whatever. But if we play reasonably well, that's going to be a win. You're now in a league where if you play reasonably well, you might lose 7 games in the conference, 6-7 games in the conference.
Yeah.
So seeing how the program adjusts back to what it was like in the Big East, you know, because they were here and they won championships. So what does it look like as they get back to that? Because, you know, that like if you go back to those Big East days, Pitt was really good. I mean, Shady McCoy and, you know, Charles Johnson, and like they had a bunch of dudes at Pitt that were really good. West Virginia was Steve Slayton and Pat White and Noel Devine, and like Pat McAfee. West Virginia was rolling for a while there. Louisville always had good teams. So it was a battle every week. And Cincinnati made that adjustment after a couple years in the league, and they competed for championships. Can they do the same? How long does it take for them to get to that level in the Big 12?
Let me ask you this. So back in the day, you know, Joe Burrow, before he went to LSU, he stopped at Cincinnati and he was almost sold. He was going to be our quarterback, right?
He committed.
And then he went down there, and I think it was the
Ed
coach
Orgeron wouldn't let him leave.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let him leave, and he put pressure on his brother to get him to stay because I think his Joe's brother is a LSU alumni.
And his dad had a bunch of connections to LSU. His dad was the defensive coordinator at Ohio, at OU. That's why they were in Athens.
If Joe stays, what do you think that what kind of difference does that make? You think we win a national? I don't think we'd win the national championship.
So the best thing for Joe was to go to LSU.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think ultimately the best thing for UC was Joe to go to LSU, because what did that do? It allowed Desmond Ridder to start early in his career and become the best quarterback in program history. So,
hey, which brings us to Friday, right? Burrow and Ridder. We got the Falcons this Friday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think we'll see a whole lot of Dez.
No, we're not going to see either one of them unless they're standing on.
You
the
might
sideline.
see Dez for a series.
Yeah,
maybe.
But that's about it.
But
hey, I hope that kid does good, man.
Yeah.
I really do. I liked UC that year.
Yeah.
I got into it that year.
Right.
You know the connection, right? Pork chop?
Which connection?
To Ridder with the Bengals.
Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor was the one that recruited Desmond Ridder. He's the one that went to Tommy Tuberville and said, "This is our quarterback of the future." Then
He's got a fucking eye, doesn't he? That Zach Taylor guy.
Look, Tuberville was like, "Look, I got a tea time. Like, if you think he's the guy, then he's the guy. You do whatever you want." And Zach brought in Dez. So yeah, that's the connection to the Bengals that Dez, you know, Zach Taylor believed it. Dez had one offer outside of Cincinnati.
Wow.
Eastern Kentucky.
Really?
That was his only offer besides Cincinnati. That's how deep Zach Taylor like went, you know, in believing in Dez. He went out and saw, I think, 8 quarterbacks, because in April, coaches are allowed on the road. Zach Taylor went on the road. He saw 8 quarterbacks, all of them. Dez was the lowest rated quarterback that he saw. And he came back to Cincinnati and said, Desmond Ridder.
Wow.
And we all were like, the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, you went and you came home, and the worst one is the one that you pinpointed. And lo and behold, he was right.
That's, you know, we do a lot of who the fuck is this guy here in Cincinnati, don't we? Didn't they do that with Fickle too at first when he came? Like, what?
No. Fickle was rising up. I just couldn't believe he'd leave Ohio State, because he went to Ohio State. He wanted
to be a coach. He's the one. He recruited, like, he wanted the Cincinnati job more than Cincinnati wanted him initially. The funny thing is the two guys, like, when it came down to it, there was 2 names. It was Luke Fickell and Scott Satterfield. And they were prepared to hire either one of them. And and so many people kind of jumped up and stood on the table for Fickle. Jim Tressel and all the Ohio State people, coaches around the state were calling the athletic department like, this is the guy. This is the guy to get it done. And that kind of ultimately swayed his ability to recruit Ohio was what swayed Mike Bone and Brandon Sosna to hire him. But it was almost Scott Satterfield 7 years ago. And now here we are. It's
Full
weird.
circle.
Yeah,
got them both.
I want to go back to Desmond Ridder quickly. I mean, the Falcons, they loaded up on defense, and their offense, I think, is good. They're going to rely on the run game with Bijan Robinson out of Texas a lot. So I think Des will fit this. Here's the thing about Des. Hard worker. You do not have to question his work ethic or anything. But my question to you, Chad, is can he do well in the NFL? Can you see him succeeding in the NFL?
Yeah. Especially in a system where they're not asking him to be Herbert. They're not asking him to throw 47 times a game.
Right.
But if you look, man, he's got weapons.
He does.
He's got a big-time tight end in Pitts. He's got the wide receiver from USC, London?
London, yes.
Yeah. Like, they've got some talent outside that he's not going to be struggling for targets. He's looking at guys that can play. So, yeah.
Like you said, it's going to be a run-first team. He's in the perfect system right now. He's in the perfect system. So I'll be rooting for him 100% because you talk about a great person. I mean, just such a humble person he is, right?
Awesome guy. Guy. All right, my daughter's.
Well, I was just going to let you get out here anyway, Chad. Tell everybody where they could find you. I know you got a podcast too, don't you?
You can find us if you're right here on YouTube. You can go to Bearcat Journal, just youtube.com/Bearcat Journal. We do live shows on Monday and Wednesday. There's a Tuesday one coming. Our Sunday morning show. So we do something called the Bearcat Brunch Sunday mornings at 9:30. That we recap the day before, talk a little college football, and then even get into a little Bengals at the end of that show. It's kind of like a lead in to all your Bengals pregame stuff. We have a nightly show called the Nightcap that we do 6 days a week. That's like a shorter form, like 15, 20 minutes on whatever the one or two biggest topics of the day are. You can go to bearcatjournal.com. We've got a bunch of content on the front page. You can find us pretty much everywhere. Instagram. Find me on X. And I hate that. X.
It's so stupid, right?
Put a fucking X on my
You can't
phone.
I
almost deleted that fucking app the minute that update went through.
I didn't think about that, but you're right.
I look down and there's a fucking X on my phone.
Yeah. I'm not about it, man.
Me neither, but I didn't think about that, Chad. Oh my God.
I don't even know what you say now. Like you can't tweet out, you're Xing out or whatever the fuck it is.
No, I just can't even talk about it.
I know, it's fucking stupid.
I did hear somebody say something. I think I'm going to adopt. They called it Twix.
Twix? All right.
TWI with a big X.
Yeah.
Twix. I think I might just call it Twix because I'm never calling it X because fuck those guys.
It's fucking weird, man.
Yeah.
It's like Prince. They changed his name to a symbol.
But see, he doesn't get it. He still doesn't know what I'm talking about. He doesn't know why X is out for me.
Why X is out for you?
Yeah, Xavier.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Chad,
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that, Chad. Like when you started mentioning X, I'm like, holy crap.
Chad, you already know my brain looks like fucking piece of Swiss cheese with the big holes in it.
I was a part of getting it there.
I know you know me from my past, man.
Hey, Chad.
Look, we used to have pay-per-view wrestling watch parties at Pork Chop's house.
Yeah,
nice.
My wife put an end to that shit.
Who was your wrestler, Chad? Before you get out, who was your wrestler?
I was a Rock guy.
Rock.
Yeah. Who's the greatest wrestler of all time, though?
Stone Cold.
Shut the fuck up.
Hulk Hogan.
No.
Stone Cold.
Man, shut up with that fucking Hulk Hogan who can't even wrestle shit. Hulk Hogan will tell you he can't fucking wrestle, and
Who is it then?
The fucking Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Woo!
Nobody controlled a crowd like Stone Cold did.
I'm telling you,
peak of Stone
if
Cold.
it weren't for fucking Nature Boy, there'd never be
What?
Stone Cold.
What?
Woo! Woo!
What?
Woo! The Nature Boy, man, that is the best wrestler ever. Stone Cold is my number. He could be number 3. I go Nature Boy, Rock, Stone Cold.
I'd go Stone Cold Rock, Nature Boy, then Hogan.
Shut up, man.
For me, Hulk Hogan.
He can't fucking wrestle.
No, this is my personal. Take it or leave it, Pork Chop. Hulk Hogan, Sting, The Rock. That's what I grew up on. I'm sorry. I like Sting.
I mean, you can like Sting. I like a lot of wrestlers. That doesn't make them the best.
Nature Boy's 124 years old, and he can get in there right now and fucking put out and sell for a guy.
Pork Chop was my favorite rock and roll DJ. That doesn't make him better than the Fat Man.
No. Well, it does now because is the Fat Man, is he still?
He's still doing something somewhere. Like, if there's a microphone, the Fat Man will get in front of it. As you know, there's nobody better than Ernie Brown.
Hey, Anthony says he met Sting. I met Sting, too. When I worked in radio, I did a thing where he was sitting next to me, and that motherfucker stunk.
Well,
that's
guys,
what I remember about Sting. He did not smell great.
Well, guys, before you get out of here, something happened. We can't talk about Zeke Elliott anymore because he just signed with the Patriots. So there goes Zeke Elliott.
Did he really?
He just signed with the Patriots for a 1-year deal.
All right. Well, we kept Chad on long enough for that. But Chad, bro,
gentlemen,
I appreciate it, man. I
Take
really
care,
do
buddy.
appreciate it. And we're on at 3:30s lots of times. So anytime you want to pop on, you're welcome.
Thank you so much,
appreciate
Chad.
you guys. We'll talk soon. See ya.
All right, man. Peace out, Chad. Greg, and here we are.
There goes Zeke Natty, man. I had high hopes. I had T-shirts being made. I had a whole thing being made. It's all thrown out the window.
You're going to have to – you know what they do? The same thing they do with all those Super Bowl T-shirts when the team loses, they send them to Africa.
No, they do. They do. So, but like, Pork Chop, man, you're going to come over to my house for a bonfire because I got all this merchandise I'm going to put into a bonfire, man. So
let's not burn it, Greg. Let's send it to Africa. That way we can help some children. Put a shirt on their back.
Well, anyway, man, I'm depressed right now. We could have had Zeke. I had Zeke Natty all planned out, and it's thrown out the window. And
Sally Struthers going to be happy as shit when she gets that shipment of fucking Zeke Natty shirts for all the little children.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Greg, rate our show without Dale, our first show without Dale, on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the best show that ever fucking happened on Bengals and Brews, and 0 being it totally fucking sucked. Go ahead.
I'm giving it a 10 because Chad Brendal knows what he's talking about.
He
knows what he's talking about. He diehard knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about with Gronk. He diehard knows what the hell he's talking about.
Oh, I figured you'd go with that Gronk shit.
I don't know what you're talking, Anthony. I don't know what you're talking about. That was edited by somebody else. I took a picture of his full body. I did not take a picture of his ass.
I wonder who edited that, Greg.
I wonder. I can only imagine who did that, but no. But no, like I said, though, but yeah, Chad was awesome to have on. I mean, thank you so much, Chad, for coming on, bud.
Yeah, he was. Hey, before we go, though, I want to tell everybody, tell your friends, because you're doing them a big fucking favor when they find out about Bengals and Brews. Tell them to get on here, and you can go to our YouTube channel, and you can go to Facebook and Twitter. You can follow us all, X. You can follow us all in there. If you're on the YouTube channel, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit notify, because every once in a while we do a pop-up show. You know, we do these Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 3:30. We got a night show on Friday. And then, if you're not a regular watching all these shows and you didn't know, we were also on Saturday. You know, they came on and did a recap the preseason game. You don't know that if you're not a subscriber, if you don't get notified. So make sure you do that. And then that way you can check that out. Also, I always like to push our merchandise. So let me scroll. I got it here somewhere. Here it is. Boom. You want to represent, you want to get out there and show your Bengals and Brews pride, or you just want a kick-ass T-shirt, because that's what we do. We put out kick-ass T-shirts. Make sure you go to our merch store. If you're on our X page or Twitter, whichever one you want to call it, there's a link to it on there, or you can go to bengalsandbrews.sellfy.store. You know what I do? I put into Google Bengals and Brews Sellfy, and it pops right up. You'll see the hold it, he's over there. The can crusher guy. No, he's over there. Up in the corner above Greg. You'll see that little symbol, and you can click on there and go there. We got shirts that aren't on here. We got a blackout Trey shirt that looks really nice.
Yes.
And we got iPhone covers with our logo on it. Oh, I got one right here. See that?
That's awesome.
So you can go on there and get that now, and you can also get some koozies and some stickers and represent. So we'd appreciate it. We appreciate everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys putting up with us every day, talking little Bengals, having fun, hanging out with our friends. And any parting words, Greg?
Hey, You know what, man? I mean, just everybody out there, it's preseason. The whole cool thing about preseason is, man, I think you can agree with this, is just seeing all your buddies just chilling out, watching the game, not having to worry if it's a serious game or not, just chilling out.
I didn't even watch the score, Greg. I was watching players.
I
didn't even know what the score was.
I was watching players too. That's exactly what I was doing. It was just how cool was it to see everybody at halftime with that big group? We had to do 2 separate pictures, but still, how cool was it? It was like seeing your family. Most of your family you haven't seen in a while, man. It was just so awesome.
It was, oh man, when we did that group picture, dude, I loved it.
Well, no, when I tweeted it out, like I tagged a couple people, I did not think a lot of people were going to show up, and we get there, it's like, oh my god. So that's awesome. Thank you so much.
It was packed.
That was awesome.
But thank you, Gregory, for being on the show.
Thank you, Chop.
And thank you to Pork Chop. And I'm going to hit the button, but I don't know if it's going to work. So we're out and Hoo Day. And